Welcome back to the channel, everybody. It is May 2026, which means it's been 10 years since I've been writing code. And in my time writing code, one thing that nobody warned me about was the fact that mentally coding was going to just destroy me. I had no idea that I would end up in the hospital twice over anxiety attacks. And if I didn't fix something about myself, I would probably still be having anxiety attacks up to this day. Now, I no longer experience those because I came up with a few tips for myself that helped me overcome those challenges. But in this video, I'm going to talk about 3 ways that programming seeps into your personal life and ruins it. And then we're going to talk about how we can kind of get over that in the end. So the first way that coding is killing your mental health is something I'd like to call the optimization problem. This is basically a problem that occurs in programmers, especially because we're taught to think about space-time complexity, which is basically how efficient can we get with our algorithm or our function so that it returns the fastest result possible. And that's really good and fine and dandy when it comes to programming, but when it comes to normal aspects of life, it just makes you seem and feel impatient. And I'll give you an example, right? So my friend messaged me last week and he said, "Hey, let's meet up at this park and go for a walk." And as I was on my way there, about 15 minutes away, he called me and he said, "Hey, actually,
When you get here, let's go to a drive-through. I want to grab something small to eat.
so I told him, why don't you just go get that thing? And if you're getting anything from me, when you come back, let me Venmo you, let me send you some money, and you'll already have the food." And he was like, "Man,
Like, let me wait for you. Let's go together.
but me being always trying to be optimized, I just couldn't help but feel a sense of like anger or like just impatience that why don't you just go to the drive-through and bring me back this food and I'll just send you money?" But the thing is, my friend just wants to spend time with me, right? And obviously, I'm aware of that, so I didn't really argue too much. So that's problem number one. Now, moving on to the second way that coding is killing you is something I'd like to call the edge case obsession problem. And this is really a problem that occurs because we spend 95% of our time freaking out, absolutely obsessing about 1% of issues that go wrong. And that's totally fine and dandy, like I said, when it comes to writing code, but in normal life, you can't spend your whole life obsessing about the 1% of things that could go wrong. This happened to me a few months ago when I was going to a party, and before I had even gotten to the party, as I was driving up, I realized, you know what, there's a small chance I'm gonna do very poorly at this party. Something is gonna happen, and I need to slip out of this party and just drive home. And the thing is, I had no bad intentions. Nothing bad was going on. There was no reason to believe anything could go wrong, but I had already decided that I'm going to park my car here, and if anything goes wrong, I'm gonna get in my car and leave. And that negative sort of thinking, it's not a good way to come into a scene, to come into a party and be like, okay, I'm ready for the worst case possible. That's not how you enjoyed it, that's not how you enjoy relationships, that's not how you enjoy a party, it's not how you enjoy anything really. Because if you plan for failure all the time, right? For that 1% chance that things could go wrong, it causes all kinds of weird anxieties. And so that brings me to my third reason why coding is killing your mental health, and it's something I like to call the binary flattening problem. And that is basically a problem that occurs because we deal with zeros and ones. We deal with the fact that our code is either going to pass or it's going to fail. But the thing is, in life, we're not really dealing with zeros and ones. We're not dealing with things collapsing into complete goodness or complete terribleness, right? Life is mostly okay and has wonderful little things about it that make it great, but reality is we live in a gray area. And in order to navigate this gray area, you have to accept that you don't have complete control. You can't think about everything. You can't solve every problem and collapse everything into zero or one. So, with all the problems I just mentioned, think about all the anxieties that these can cause. One of the anxieties that they caused me was illness anxiety. Now, illness anxiety or someone who's a hypochondriac is basically just anybody who's freaking out all the time about their health. And this happened to me a lot in 2018, 2019, 2020, when I would constantly experience any symptom and associate it with some sort of illness or some terrible disease or something. It was a very weird moment in my life when I would have some light chest pain. It could just be heartburn, but I would immediately go to the thought of, oh my God, I'm having a heart attack. Or I would be sick. Like one time I was sick for about a month and I had decided I must have some sort of rare cancer. I had joint pain and decided I had a bone disease, right? I'm basically jinxing myself or manifesting negative stuff for myself. And I didn't really know why, but now I do. It's because of those 3 reasons I just mentioned, right? And it makes perfect sense. If I'm always obsessing about the edge cases, if I'm always binary flattening, considering that I'm either dying or I'm not, and I'm always optimizing, refactoring my thought process to sort of support whatever hypothesis I've come up with, my life is slowly becoming into nothing. It's I really can't even operate on a day to day. And in order to make sure that I don't experience those types of feelings anymore, there's a couple of tips that I'd like to share with you guys that I think will help you go a long way. The first tip I could give you is that you need to travel. You have to get on a train, get on a plane, get on a boat, get on a car. I sound like Dr. Seuss, but you need to basically get on some mode of transportation and you need to get out of your bubble. Don't just lock yourself in your basement or in your room or wherever you're chilling, because the reality is you write a lot of code, you do a lot of engineering, and now what else can you do in your free time when you're not just cranking away at work? You'll be scrolling on your phone. You'll be thinking about bullshit, right? Essentially, you'll just be freaking yourself out about nothing. Just go ahead and travel. One of the best things I ever did for myself was get a plane ticket and go to Japan. I had always wanted to go to Japan. And when I went there the first time, I swear when I came back, I never experienced the same sort of anxiety again. And it wasn't just because Japan's such a great place, it was because I was operating in a gray area for a long time and feeling happy about it. I was traversing Japan's trains and I didn't know how to speak the language, but at the same time, there was a part of me that was like, this is adventurous, this is fun, this is a journey, and this is life, right? That's what I'm trying to get at here. And now my second tip for living a happy life while being a programmer is to figure out your life's purpose. This is really important. See, the thing is, when our mind is empty, all we can possibly do is think negative things. But the reality is, we don't need to be spending time thinking about those things. Of course, in life, you sort of roll with the punches, but you gotta punch back. And when you're punching or running towards something, what are you running towards? We don't write code because we just like to write code. And if you think life's purpose is writing code and you're just gonna be a code monkey and everything's gonna be great and your mental health is gonna be amazing, you're totally wrong. Coding is to solve problems. What are the problems you want to solve? How do you want to be a part of this world? What matters to you? That's what you really need to think about. And the less your mind is empty, the better. So that's my rant on programming and mental health. And if you found any of this relatable or any of this helpful, please comment down below. I want us to be able to all share how, we're overcoming these challenges, and I want to understand the problems that you're facing so I can think about ways to maybe help you, give you some advice. And don't forget to like and subscribe. I really want to continue making these videos. Thank you guys so much for listening, and I'll see you in the next one.